Okay, apparently everything should be working now. Let me quickly confirm the sound. Sound should be working as well. Just a minute. Almost there. Okay. Yeah, it is working. So we can start. So my name is Hightech, of course, and on this live stream, I talk about what just happened today in the cryptocurrency market, what I think about regarding 11 years of my experience. In between the lines, I also explain what high-tech meme coin is and why you might be interested. And yeah, so Jesus is king, and let's start. Let's go. So if you guys have any questions, ask them in the live chat. Of course, I'm trying. Actually, I want to turn on live chat on my phone. Let me see if I can do that. Should be possible to do here. Hold a second. Something's wrong here. Ah, yeah, okay. It should be. Oh, okay. Yeah, it should be fine. Sorry. But I have the live chat, not the one I wanted actually. I don't have the live chat, the horizontal live chat, unfortunately. Okay, the vertical one. Okay, but I have it here. Okay, so I've got no other just like to switch tabs from time to time. I was hoping for a better solution to it, but it must stay like this. Okay, so the title of today's live stream is Kramer's Curse Holds. So what do I mean by that? Because, when I switched over to SPYX, which is a tokenized version of SPY, and I remind you, SPY is a trust fund that reflects what's going on with S&P 500. quite a complicated picture here, quite a complicated combination. But yeah, so this one to some extent should give us a little bit of an insight of what TradFi thinks throughout the weekend, what TradFi is preparing, for Monday. So as you see, well over 0.5% down on Saturday here, and I don't know if you remember, but Jim Cramer said that on Monday we will have a bounce, right? The TradFi will have a bounce. So this one maybe doesn't confirm it as much as most of those invested in TradFi would like. And yeah, we'll see how big of an impact it will have on the crypto market. I hope it won't translate to a heavy drop on our side of global finance. But yeah, recently it was. Recently it was. So maybe we'll get just additional couple of days of negative volatility before we go higher. Or maybe we will finally depeg from S&P 500. Maybe we will finally completely decorrelate. That would be a nice one to see. Nice one to have, nice one to see. It's not impossible. It has happened in the past, so maybe this time too. We'll see. You know what? I don't think this one is actually. Yeah. Oh, this one is. Is it set up correctly? Yes. Okay. I had my doubt for a second. So yeah, and here as you see on my X timeline, there is a funny post from Coin Bureau, Kramer versus Kiyosaki. So are they calling Kiyosaki an inverse indicator? Because Kiyosaki has been calling for a huge crash in the stock market for quite a while already, for quite a long time. What is this? Create a poll. Oh wow, I can create a poll in the live chat. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, I think I will be come up with something in my future live stream. Gray Wolfie says hi. Hi, Gray Wolfie. If you have any questions regarding crypto market, of course, feel free to ask. I'll try to give my response to the best of my ability. 11 years of experience in this market, it is something. If it comes to any life advices, yeah, I'm over 40, so maybe something. if I feel, if I feel, let's say, qualified with my personal experience. So yeah, so it's kind of funny. This post is kind of funny because they literally put on one bench Jim Cramer and Robert Kiyosaki. I don't think Robert deserves that, to be perfectly honest, but that's what they've done. And Jim Cramer, famous for his invest call, says stock will bounce on Monday. Yeah, so this is exactly what this this chart is trying to neglect right now. But there is still a chance tomorrow it will do something positive. It will, make a U-turn, or it will continue. It will continue, and it will give us a fairly low opening on Monday, and who knows, maybe it follow through with the selling pressure. What I care for is crypto market completely, turning turning inside the other way. So we don't follow, we don't, go with the same steps. And like I said, it has happened in the past. I mean, we've been decorrelating within the last 2 years. We were catching those short, periods of decorrelation when S&P actually was going down, and we were even going the opposite side. But that's not very common. That's not very common. So that's why, there is that element of stress here. It could not happen. It could not play out at this time. And here, meanwhile, Robert Kiyosaki, who's been calling crashes for years, says a big one is coming. Okay. Who is right this time? Who is right this time? Okay. So they are insinuating that the powers of the two will cancel out, and what? Nothing's gonna happen. We will just go sideways. That's also possible. That's definitely possible. Okay, what else we've got here? Sigma Capital. Oh damn! What have I done? I clicked something. Sigma Capital CEO warns BTC could drop 70% in the next downturn despite long-term 1 million target. So there is more and more people counting on a huge correction in the market, and you know what that means. I mean, the more people is afraid of a correction, the more likely is we will go literally the other way around. I have heard voices here and there that what will happen is there will be some sort of quote unquote scam in the global finance, and crypto will be used for that. And from what I have understood, some of them say that the stock market will suffer, and crypto market will thrive. Are we going to see that on Monday? We'll see. We'll see. That will be very interesting. So yeah, this one is TRB against USDT. I actually have a trade on this coin, and it's not doing crazy good yet, just yet. 3.47% in profit, but when we look at the weekly candle here, it definitely has a lot of room to go, right? It looks like this could be the bottom, to be honest, considering how previous weekly candle has looked. And current candle is looking, right, is closing. That could be, if current candle closing green, that could be a confirmation that we already bottomed out on this coin, and it's time to go aggressively up. And even if we go to, let's say, previous candle body top, that would be 643. percent, and that is the highest weekly close. Yeah, it is. It is. So that will just until there it will be plus 643%. So yeah, I'm counting on at least two doubles here that I'll get to double. So first one will be on plus 100%, second on plus 300%. And like I said, hopefully Monday will not ruin it. But I think right now the mindset you should be acquiring is the bullish one, not the bearish one. Even though I know it's very easy to be bearish now. I have one doubt, to be honest. One serious doubt is the horizontal mode, no, vertical mode. I don't know why I keep saying horizontal when I mean vertical. The vertical mode, is it actually working fine? I'm not sure. Will I be able to display it here or not? No, I don't think so. That's actually a bummer. This it never shows me the live stream in vertical mode. I guess I will have to find out. I guess I will have to find out after I'm done with this live stream, and that's it. Because otherwise I will be talking about it here, and you guys will get bored, and that's not fair. And here I cannot even click anything. Okay, whatever. Because I'm concerned how little views I'm getting. I'm getting very very little views, so that's a little bit uncommon. But at least I got one person in the live chat, so that somewhat confirms it's not as it used to be back in the day when my channel was completely hidden from the world. But yeah, this is not how it should actually be. All right, so yeah, let's take a look how Bitcoin dominance is developing, or the situation in Bitcoin dominance, but not on the weekly. I rather prefer the daily because we are getting closer to daily close. And yeah, so far it's going good. So far it's going well. It's not giving me any changes here, which is good. I want it to remain like that, and that's really really cool. I want it to remain in red and keep printing this rounding top, rounding heel here, so we can roll over and finally start the altcoin season. Seems like we are on the right track. So that's cool. Okay. Let's see what Bitcoin is doing. Since last time I've live streamed, more or less stays where it was, around $110,000, which is good. On the daily, it also looks fairly good. Like it could be done with this selling pressure, hypothetically, of course. So yeah, but I have to check something because this is really weird, to be honest. If what I think is as I think, then I would have to. No, it's correct. Okay, so it's something very weird. Okay. Yeah, whenever you live stream live like I do, just once in a while something will pop up that will make you freak out that you've done something wrong and live stream is not doing the way you planned it to go. But yeah. So examining liquidation heat map and what has changed on the weekly, we see that vast majority of liquidity is above the price. There is some concentration slightly beneath as well, but it's much less. I I've noticed, when it comes to this liquidation heat map on different time frames, it becomes very inconsistent. Like if we switch over to, let's say, monthly, it will show us almost different situation. When we switch over to weekly, it will give us this kind of a picture, which is much more bullish. When I switch over to, for example, 24 hours, it will give us like very, very break even, you see. Pretty much same as liquidity above the price as beneath the price. So this is not a very useful tool to rely on, to be honest. I don't think you should be using it. Like, for example, here, you see, there's a hefty amount of liquidity beneath the price here. But then when we look at all of the space above, I mean, collectively speaking, of course, above is more, but then we do not really see same amount of space beneath, so we cannot really compare. That's not something that we could reliably compare. So that forces us to switch over to even larger time frame, and then when we look at this picture, then it don't really know. It does not clear anything out. It just makes you doubt even more. Let's take a look at 6 months. That's why I have chosen weekly for the sake of entertainment. So 6 month, as you see, it looks like there is more liquidity beneath now, right? So it's such a confusing tool. You don't really know which way to go, right? But again, this one is heavily spoofed, so you should not be using it anyway. For a YouTube channel to discuss it, like I said, for entertaining purposes, that's fine. but but to use it as something that will really help you in enhancing your trading, the chances for that are very, very low, brutally low. So that's why, yeah, that's why I don't use it. But as of now, on the weekly, as you see, it looks like we should pump, right? We should pump from here. We should go to the previous local high at how high it is, around 117,000. But like I said, it's very unreliable. So yeah, so in like 40 minutes, we'll get a new read of Fear and Greed Index and Altcoin Season Index. So I'm not sure if I'm able to run it for another 40 minutes like this. Maybe not. It all depends on the activity, because if there is any activity in the chat, that changes a lot. When there is questions and a dialogue in the live chat, that makes time fly. It becomes really, really easy. So who knows? Maybe we'll get some conversation here, and we will get through next 40 minutes and see what, let's say, more up to date state of market mindset we get we are having right now. But yeah, okay, let's go over to crypto bubbles, and as you see, it has been very, very bullish among many coins, and unfortunately, most of those that actually not most of those that are the most bullish, I do not trade them. Like Dash, I do not trade. ZK, I don't even know what ZK is. ZK Sync, I have no idea, to be honest, what that is. I think this is some sort of a coin to enhance privacy on Ethereum, something like that, something along those lines, I believe, but I could be wrong. And Zencoin, which is this one, plus 49%. You may not see it in vertical mode. Let me drag it over to the middle of the screen. That's why it's better to subscribe to the channel so you can see it in horizontal mode where everything is visible. Yeah, I dragged it. Yeah, so as you see, these are the three biggest bubbles. None of these coins are traded with my trading system. Um, but with a little bit of good luck, next week everything will go up aggressively, and then I'll be getting my gains too. Guys, if you have any questions, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Now I see I finally start to get a little bit of views, so that's cool. I've been talking 21 minutes and just how much? Just 4 views. That's not very good. This morning it was much better. So maybe it's just the hour. So yeah, Monday. Monday is a day with a huge question mark over it. Will this time Jim Cramer be wrong? Meaning be right, right? Be wrong in that inverse sense. So is he going to be right or not? There's only 5%, statistically speaking, there's only 5% chance this guy is going to be right on Monday. He has almost uncanny record of his inverse calls. 95% is something that you can only dream of. Cointelegraph. Okay, this one I've read about, and this one Bitcoin performance the last 3 months. Yeah, kinda, but altcoins were doing much worse. At least it was doing something, right? At least it wasn't crashing. Altcoins were just laying on the ground, face down. Okay, let's see. Let's see what new has popped up. What if Bitcoin consolidates just above 100k through 2026 now? Highly unlikely. Will you make it through? That's highly unlikely. Unless there is some sort of capital rotation from Bitcoin to altcoins, then that will happen. But usually altcoins get stimulated when Bitcoin moves up at least a little bit. So, but let me tell you what we've been seeing so far in the altcoin market is out of the norm. Is definitely this is not normal that the Bitcoin does very well and altcoins do trash. Because let's be honest, most of altcoins got completely trashed, right? Like literally 70% of the altcoin scene, instead of seeing any kind of recovery, any kind of rallies, they score lower and lower all-time lows. I mean, actually, okay, you cannot see lower and lower all-time lows. They just score all-time low after all-time low. This is what I wanted to say. Sorry. Sorry, for once in a while I will say something stupid. English is my second language, okay? I don't really speak good English. President Nayib Bukele says the Federal Reserve is not nothing federal and has no reserves. That's a very old interview. So they reheat the same plate over and over again. Bitcoin magazine, but that's too old. Crypto Goose says buy altcoins in Q4, retire early. Yeah, I think the same. I think the same. I'm starting to doubt more and more. Are we going to get any second dip in November? We may not get a second dip. Initially, like a few months ago, I was believing that we will get a huge correction in November. Apparently, we've got it in October. We got it in October. So I don't think now it's necessary for the market to get a second large corrections. Large correction. Probably not. Because who will be selling? Who will be suppressing the market? I mean, you must have the asset in order to to cause something like that, right? You must be holding the asset to dump it. If it has been already dumped, where you get the asset from? Satoshi Silver. What do you call someone who is all in Bitcoin? A Bitcoiner, I suppose. Larry Davis. Did you buy the dip? Kinda, kinda partially. I'm already allocated in the market, but not fully yet, because as you may remember, I do not trade manually. I trade through my own trading system. So it all depends when my system allocates, but it already started reallocating. So if it keeps keeps it up like this for another, I don't know, a day or two or three, I'll probably be already fully allocated, fully invested in the altcoin market back again. 55 months of compression, that's about to end. Last time Bitcoin broke out after 30 months, it went vertical. This time, the wedge is tighter, the base is stronger, and breakout candle and the rocket ignites. One breakout candle and the rocket ignites. This is Bitcoin chart. Okay, yeah, not bad. Makes sense. Yeah, but this is a rising wedge, just so you know. So theoretically speaking, this is a bearish formation. But if I didn't know what's going on with the US dollar, my take would be that this is going to break down. But since I know, so it will break out through the ceiling, not through the floor. China is draining London's gold market, pressuring the dollar system. Okay. In case of China, I mean, the problem with that country is it's super corrupted, and everybody knows about it. So yeah, I'm not sure if they can rebuild their trust just by buying gold, because the amount of propaganda they inject into the Western world is astounding, and it gets this uncovered, right? It gets debunked after a while. Like every single impressive thing they demonstrate, they present, after a while gets debunked, and turns out it was all, I don't know, CGI, or some sort of computer generated NFT euphoria explained in 50 seconds. Cash grab. Okay, let's see it. Zero. Expectation versus reality. Okay. So it's sorry, grabbing cash, but all of those banknotes have zero on it, $0. Oh my god, it's funny. NFTs, from strategic perspective, are absolutely terrible. You cannot really strategize NFTs. You can strategize trading meme coins or any kind of coin, but you cannot really anyhow strategize trading NFTs, like flipping NFTs. And most of NFTs, they are for money laundering, nothing else. So that's why, whenever somebody, let's say, buys out of a sudden a JPEG of a rock, it's not because he attached any value to it. It's because he was paying for a service. And if he paid for the same service in a normal way, the service provider would have to pay probably VAT tax, so value added tax, income tax, aside from it, and that would probably amount to like 40%, 50% in some cases. Meanwhile, in many jurisdictions, if it's sold as an art, there is zero tax or I don't know, some very, very tiny amount applied. So if you did not know about it, now you know. It's actually fairly simple. The Butcher of Wall Street. Warning. Banks borrow 50 billion in emergency liquidity from Fed repo window today. That was 31st. 20 billion this morning and 30 billion more in the afternoon. Crisis incoming. Ah, that's a lot of gold, eh? A gold shop in Dubai. That's a lot of bling. Yeah, it is. That must be very heavy. That must be very heavy. Someone received a 50,000 Bitcoin worth 13 million dollars offer for their property in 2015. Yeah, this is an old story. Yeah, but back in 2015, it wasn't easy to believe in Bitcoin. So I don't blame them. I totally don't blame them. I mean, now it's difficult for most of the people to believe in Bitcoin after so much institutional adoption. Romney predicts that BTC will hit $200,000 in the next 61 days. What does he know? Interesting. That's a very precise number. In the next 2 months, probably not. I mean, it is possible, but will it? Let's first see 150K, then we'll discuss. I want to see Joe Rogan podcast with Elon Musk. I will be watching it after this live stream. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I even should I watch it on this live stream and do a reaction video. Why not? At some point, probably I will be giving you guys offers like that. You know, to stay here together and watch something and to kind of a reaction video about it. But now the participation in live chat is still too tiny. Is way and there's not enough of activity to make it entertaining. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway now holds a record 381.7 billion in cash. That's worth 3.47 million BTC, 16.5% of the total supply. Yeah, that's quite a lot. Take and Shake has announced its new Bitcoin treasury built with the Bitcoin made from its restaurant sales. Yeah, we read about it. I think it was on the last live stream. Yeah. Am I mistaken? Web3 gaming isn't just about playing, it's about financializing, oh damn, financializing the experience. Financializing. Sorry forgive me my English. This is my second language. Has Bitcoin already topped? After October's wild swings, many think the bull run is over, but Dan says not so fast. Who is Dan? Coin Bureau Trading. I imagine it's some sort of a trader at Coin Bureau. Yeah, I say the same. Not so fast. I see it as something unlikely that we already topped out. Because again, I remind you. Let me show it to you once more. It's just so you have it. You have it more, let's say, memorized. Last time Last time when we entered a bear market was here in 2021. And this was exactly when Fed announced quantitative tightening. Now, here, Fed announced quantitative easing, right? So this is literally the opposite. This is the opposite situation we had here. So yeah, I don't think we can expect literally the same result with this factor being literally upside down. That would be something extremely weird. Extremely weird. Guys, if you watch this content, give it a like, share, like, and subscribe. Yeah, I was talking about this interview. Elon Musk tells Joe Rogan that X's new peer-to-peer encrypted messaging system was inspired by Bitcoin. Now, bullcrap. He said it was working like Bitcoin. It is using the same encryption as Bitcoin. Actually.
We just rebuilt the entire messaging stack into what's called XChat.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah, it's cool. So it's using sort of peer-to-peer, sort of kind of a peer-to-peer based encryption system, so kind of similar to Bitcoin.
Is it kind of similar to Bitcoin? Because pretty much every single messaging app that has inbuilt encryption, right, has encrypted messages will be using sort of encryption like Bitcoin. So that's miles away from saying it was inspired by Bitcoin. But yeah. Well, Governor Waller says all the data point signals rate cut in December. But is that a surprise to anybody that will get a rate cut in December? I don't really think so. Once the Fed pivoted, I think it's a done deal that they will keep cutting. Because if they don't, they'll be blamed for crashing the stock market. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants to have that chip on the shoulder. This is what it looks like to be the CEO of the largest company in the world. Okay, let me see. So he is eating. What is he eating? A chicken? Drinking beer? Where is he actually? At some pub? Yeah, probably. Robert Kiyosaki, massive crash beginning. Millions will be wiped out. Protect yourself. Silver, gold, Bitcoin, Ethereum investors will protect you. Take care. Okay. So, Robert Kiyosaki has been predicting it for long years already, and that is why at the beginning of this live stream we've seen a post about both of those guys that have a very bad record in predicting what's next, calling literally the opposite for opposite scenarios on Monday. So yeah, we'll see who is the GOAT, who is the best. If I have to bet on it, I say Jim Cramer will come out slightly victorious, maybe not hugely victorious, but it will go a little bit more his way. So what I'm expecting is maybe one more small dip on S&P, no really big huge crash, and then shortly after a recovery. Maybe on Tuesday we'll get a recovery. If we get lucky, crypto will completely ignore it, will decorrelate, and will just continue higher. That's in the cards for sure. I mean, it's not a given, not a huge chance, but it is possible. And Robert will not get what he wants. I don't think it makes sense now, to be honest. So yeah, so apparently these hours are not really good for live streams because I get very, very little views. Here on the vertical, I got just 9 views. That makes it a deal breaker, to be honest. If it continues like that, I will not be live streaming at this hour anymore because it's a waste of my time and I imagine people's time too. But anyway, this is what I wanted to say for now. I promised you guys I will live stream later on, and so I delivered. I kept my word. And share, like, and subscribe for those that haven't done so. And remember, I live stream every single day, sometimes twice a day. But probably I will have to change the hours after I see how little views I just have received over 41 minutes. That's a little bit embarrassing. But yeah, it is what it is. So thank you guys for your time.